Greetings from us here at Comic Talk.
Welcome to the Talkings of Comics.
I am Joshua.
And I am Drew.
We're talking about Clean Room. It's from some lady named Gail Simone.
The cleanest of rooms.
Communist Russia, room clean too.
My favorite one of those jokes is still the Capitalist America, though.
What's that one?
In Capitalist America, bank robs you.
That's good. That's not even a joke.
No.
It's just an observation. It's observational humor. Okay, so yeah, this is volume 1 of Gail Simone's Clean Room. This is also featuring John Davis Hunt and Quentin Winter. It's called Immaculate Conception.
Quentin Winter. That's a good name. Quinter.
It is pretty good. I'm up for it. We picked this one up in a sale. You know, Gail Simone. We said, Gail Simone, she's cool.
Yeah, I liked her with Pumbaa.
Yeah.
On fire today.
That's good. That's digging deep for those. So, we figured, hey, let's check out something she's done that's not DC. I mean, it's Vertigo, but, see what happens when she stretches her legs a little bit. Mm-hmm. So what's the synopsis here?
There's kind of like a loose Scientology reference, I think, going on. But basically, there's this self-help thing that kind of turns into a cult. And there's some crazy shit going on. And this journalist believes that they're, behind it. She's been personally affected by craziness.
Right. And somehow followers seem to be like killing themselves and weird shit's happening.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So let's do the usual. What's your general feel of this one?
Like thumbs up, thumbs down?
Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some qualifiers that we'll get to, but
sure.
Yeah, I liked it. All right. Let's do something a little different. What's your favorite thing about it?
Oh, damn. Probably the characters. I know that's such like a cheap answer, but they are really good characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're somewhere between. They're not super like hyper realistic in their telling. They're kind of stylized people.
Yeah, it's like the hyperbole of a certain sort of person.
Right, but yet relatable in weird ways. It's a pretty cool line that she walks with these characters.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like that feeling like when you're like, oh, I know somebody like that, and like at first thought that seems completely logical, and then when you try to dissect it past that, you realize you're probably full of shit.
Right.
But you still have that feeling nonetheless.
Right. They feel like people, but you would never actually meet these people in reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you like least about it?
I didn't feel like it was super successful at the horror element.
Right. I'll agree there, too. But for me, the reason I posed this to you in this way is because the thing that I liked most about it, the thing that I liked least about it, were strangely kind of the same thing. Like, it's so vague with what is really happening that it puts this cool hook into you that you want to like get to the bottom of like how all this stuff is connected. Mm-hmm. The problem though is that it's one of these like legitimate volume 1 where
I think it's pretty selectively vague though.
Definitely. Yeah. But what I'm getting to is that in the same way as something else that we recently did, The Unwritten, it doesn't feel like you're getting a self-contained thing here where I can tell somebody like, just read this, you'll like it, right? And and you're done. Like I can't this isn't something that you could just loan somebody for them to read and then they're like, yeah, that was great, thanks a lot. They would be like, well, do you have the rest?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels like the first act of a thing rather than a self-contained. There's no little mini arc that happens in here by itself, really.
I would say it's less so, though, than like other things that I've read.
Maybe.
Because we do we get simple answers to the questions. There's nothing like concrete, absolute, like this is exactly what's going on. But I think I would be fine just reading this and saying like, yeah, I kind of got the gist of it. I could read more or I couldn't.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm just daft when I read this one. Maybe I didn't quite pick everything up.
You could have had different questions than I did.
It could be. Like my main thing here, or the thing that struck me as the most interesting, was really all of the stuff with the character on the cover, which is not the protagonist of the book. It's not even really the antagonist, right? She's just,
at a point,
in a way, that way. Yeah, she seems maybe like she is, but she's really kind of not. She's like part of the ensemble cast, really.
Sure.
Which is maybe one of the cooler things about the vagueness of how it's presented, right? Because you really, as you travel through the book, the cast really grows in a way that I didn't expect at the front end. I really didn't think that it would become like characters keep coming into it that I think are going to be like done in one kind of thing.
One and done.
One and done. There you go. Done in one. And then they keep having relevance, and they keep coming back and keep being brought into it, and like the cast grows and grows as you read through it, which is
There's also little bits of the story that they come back to that I didn't expect them to come back to, like when they found the junkie dude all contorted and shit.
Right.
I figured that was just kind of done, and then towards the end of the trade, like it comes back up, and I'm like, oh,
right,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really well crafted in that way that it makes me want to read more of it.
Yeah, this sort of short and long-term storytelling interweaving together, like that's arguably my favorite part of the whole medium. It's just the ability to tell, again, short stories and long stories and have them interweave together and, not detract from one another. And
yeah, definitely. What else can we talk about here? What is the deal with all of the weird, like, demon-y kind of things? What do you think is going on? Do you have any theories, or did you pick up anything that you think is telling you what's actually happening with the clean room and the demon-y people that...
Yeah, well, I don't think that the clean room and the demon-y people are necessarily related. Because it was a big deal when the demon-y kind of, spoiler alert, it was a big deal when the demon-y kind of people made it into the clean room. They were like, we've been trying to make it in here for fucking ever, and you can't do that. And I think, a lot of that's just primarily because she takes a lot of weak people in there, which are prime for them. And then there's the bit that says, that, we're not demons or aliens, we're something, but they're probably some kind of mixture or analogy to those two kind of things.
Extra-dimensional things of some sort.
Yeah. And they're in the sky, they're not in the ground.
Right. Right. Yeah, angels, maybe some sort of weird techno-angels or some other race of beings. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe there's even multiple different things.
Sure.
That are all...
what this kind of reminded me of a little bit is Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I got some Doctor Strange vibes out of it as well. But it's a much more... kind of serious tone than what we get from Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange, I felt like.
Sure. In maybe premise only, it's sort of similar to that. When he's sort of looking around and seeing, well, this lady's got some fucking parasite on her and she has no idea because it's like an extra dimensional being, whatever. There's some of that in there.
Right.
But then there's none of like I need this enchanted lamp to burn this demon thing.
Sure. So this does a really cool job. I think really what she's going for here is to meld like horror with like science fiction, but then also bring in all these religious, like neo-religious concepts. There's a lot of like weird, like you said, Scientology kind of stuff. Like really, the whole thing is built around a Scientology-like cult.
Yeah, I got strong Scientology vibes. I mean, at several occasions, even down to like the huge celebrity involvement thing and how like something happens and they'll cancel their things, and it's very clearly some of her inspiration for the story. And not to, also the proponent of this, or not the proponent, the yeah, I guess the proponent of this whole like little cult thing used to be like a horror writer, and then she switched over to self-help.
Right.
Which is clearly like the other dude who used to be a sci-fi writer, and
right.
then he's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this, I don't know, how much more of this is there right now? Do you have any idea?
No idea.
Me neither. How interested are you in continuing to read this?
I could do another one.
Me
I
too.
liked it enough.
Me too. Yeah, I liked it enough that I will probably keep reading it. So I don't know if that tells you anything about it really. How about artistically? What did you think of the art here?
Yeah, I think on one hand it could have been the reason why the horror element didn't work. But in another regard, it serves a lot of the rest of the story really well. Mm-hmm. And it's tough. I think there's a lot of high and low points for it.
Mm-hmm. It reminded me a lot of Lock and Key.
Yeah.
You know, where the horror is kind of lost a little bit because it's trying to do a lot more than just horror. Mm-hmm. And so, like, these grotesque bits feel a little wonky in the style that the rest of it is in. But I did feel like it was more successful than that was.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of the horror elements.
I just think they should really, like, triple the amount of detail anytime something's supposed to be scary or something. Like, it deeply contrasting artistic style between, like, those two tones of the book would really, really, really serve it well. And I'm kind of disappointed they didn't take that direction with it.
Right. I felt like this could have gone in a slightly more like Nameless vibe, right? Where, because Nameless we had that where it would be a bit more standard comic booky, and then as it got into the grotesque stuff and the horror elements, it would get more and more detailed and grittier and nastier looking, and it really was pretty horrific. Whereas this,
which, by the way, would you say that's sort of your standard bearer for horror comics right now?
Modern stuff that's been out, yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah. Do you feel like this has much weight to it? Because I felt like it was pretty. It feels like it's trying to be a little weightier than it comes off. You know what I mean? Like
I did get that vibe. Where
it was a little more fun and light than I think they were going for in a way. I don't know. But I guess if you got the same vibe, then there must be something to that.
Yeah, I think the moment where it really just kind of called bullshit was when she was talking about how she chose certain people around her because she had like a fail-safe with him or something. And that just seemed like so easy, you know, and just not very well earned at that point. And yeah. I mean, we don't have any regard for like these people around her other than she says they're important. And then around the time where we start to maybe get some of that feeling, like it's just kind of like torn away. Right then. Yeah,
definitely with a lot of the backstory I felt kind of was underdeveloped here.
And also, this pisses... Let me double check on this. Yeah, I guess there's a little visual cue for it, but in the beginning, they're in Germany, right?
Right.
And your only clue for that is that,
right.
Einbahnstraße. Straße is street for German, I think, isn't
it? Yeah.
Or German for street. Street for German. Anyway, so I read most of this book without Astrid having like a German accent in my mind. And then when I figured out that she was supposed to, I was really pissed off about it.
Yeah, and that accent probably clicks a lot of the character into place, actually.
Yeah.
Because the writing would probably... I imagine she felt pretty stilted without the German accent. Yeah. Well, that's a nice little tip if you haven't read it. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, they got it in the brackets, you know, so it's like, okay, this is translated from something, but fucking what, you know? Right. I mean, she could just have a really thick Irish accent for it, you know?
Sure. How about, is there any, like, other bits about the art? I mean, we talked about the grotesqueness of it kind of failing, but...
I think it was really successful for everything else.
I thought so, too. I really liked the clean room stuff. I thought that was really well done. I feel like that was probably... They probably worked backwards from that. That's what it felt like to me. Like, this is the prototype.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they thought of, how it would look and feel, and then everything else was created
out of that.
World built out of that, because the clean room stuff is very successful.
Definitely. It's kind of like Image House stylish.
Yeah, it is.
I would say, yeah.
Okay, so who would you recommend this to?
Maybe somebody in their 20s. Somebody with a slight affinity for horror, more gore, I would say, though. You know, somebody's sort of a surface level, like, oh, I like zombie movies or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably good for them.
I think it's a pretty good, like, psychological horror kind of thing. Really, anybody into films like Final Destination and
well, the thing is, I felt like a lot of the,
or, you know, any of The Ring, like any of these kind of things, I think would work pretty well. But it does also, remember, have the large thing with the cult like stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, anybody who's into that kind of thing would probably dig it as well.
Sure, definitely. The only thing about the psychological horror thing is that's the thing that I felt was sort of underserved.
Sure.
You know, so I might be kind of reluctant to give it to somebody that's like actually
like way into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I would go with some other things. That's true.
If somebody's like, "Oh, have you seen Minority Report? It's awesome."
Boom, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's psychological sci-fi. Anybody into those melding of genres, I think would probably dig this. So yeah, I suppose that's gonna wrap it up then. That's what we think of Clean Room. You can check back with us here soon. Pretty soon we're gonna be talking about Grant Morrison's heavy metal, the stuff that he's done there so far. Mm-hmm. What else do we got going on?
We're gonna do a Talks Comics.
That's right. We're going to talk. Are we going to talk about that new publisher that's doing like the $2 and less? Yeah, that'll be cool. You can always click right here to subscribe if you're on YouTube. And then, yeah, right there, it's in the middle of us. And then down below us, there's videos that you can watch. The one over by Drew is recommended by YouTube, and the one right here is The Last Thing You Haven't Seen.